If you found yourself here, it's probably because you have a strange and wonderful mind. Let me reassure you, you are in the right place. My name is Sarah, and this is Sarah After Dark. Welcome back. In today's episode, we are going to be talking about the most haunted place on Earth. Well, allegedly. And that is Skinwalker Ranch. There is a place in Utah desert where nothing should happen, realistically. There's no crowds, no city lights, just open land, silence and sky. But according to the people who've been there, the silence doesn't stay silent for long. They claim that lights appear in the sky, creatures walk where nothing should be walking, and sometimes something looks human, but it isn't. Welcome to the most infamous paranormal hotspot in the world, Skinwalker Ranch. And trust me, this one is going to get weird fast. Before we get into the ranch itself, we need to talk about the name, because Skinwalker isn't just a creepy word that someone's made up for a horror movie. It actually comes from the Navajo folklore. A skinwalker is said to be a type of shapeshifter, a person who can transform into animals, wolves, coyotes, and even owls. Some people even say that they mimic human voices. But here's the important part. They aren't seen as friendly or mystical beings. They're associated with something darker, something very malicious. In traditional beliefs, skinwalkers are often described as witches who gain their power through taboo or even harmful acts. And they don't just change shape, they're said to stalk, manipulate, and even psychologically mess with people. So let's talk about the ranch itself. Skinwalker Ranch sits on a region often called the UFO Highway, which already sounds like a red flag, but things really got attention in the 1990s. There was a family that moved onto the property expecting quite a quiet rural life. Instead, they reported everything, not just one type of paranormal activity, all of them. They claimed things like UFOs, strange creatures, poltergeist-like activity, and unexplained voices. It was every category of the paranormal, and it all apparently decided to show up at once. One of the most famous stories from the ranch involves a massive wolf-like creature, and when I say massive, I mean unnaturally large. The family actually claimed that the animal approached them calmly, almost too calmly. Not aggressive, not afraid. It just watch them. At one point, they got close enough to even touch this wolf, which is already terrifying. But then things escalated. The creature reportedly attacked the livestock, and when the family tried to stop it, they shot it multiple times at close range. And according to the story, it didn't react the way it should. No panic, no immediate collapse. It just kept going, and then eventually it disappeared into the darkness. Can you imagine seeing something like this? And you get your gun out, because obviously we're in America and this is normal, and you start shooting at it, and it doesn't even fall down, doesn't even react. The bullets aren't even doing any damage to this creature. I would die on the spot. And it sounds kind of far-fetched. Like, it just doesn't sound believable. It does literally sound like something that you would hear or watch in a horror movie. Now, whether you believe it or not, that's the kind of story that puts this place on the map. And these reports have happened multiple times with multiple different people. But it's not just the creatures. People at the ranch have reported seeing strange lights, hovering, moving in impossible ways, sometimes silent, sometimes not. We're talking classic UFO type sightings, but with a twist. Some witnesses claimed that these lights would open up into what looked like portals in the sky, like holes in the sky, and from them openings, objects or even figures would appear. Yeah, this isn't just, oh, we saw a weird light in the sky. This is, reality might be actually glitching. Now here's where it gets even more unsettling, because a lot of witnesses don't just describe seeing things. They describe being watched footsteps when no one's there, voices calling out into empty spaces, shadows that move when they shouldn't. Some people even reported hearing their own names spoken by something that they couldn't see. And if you ever heard your name when no one was around, you know how instantly uncomfortable that would be. Now imagine it happening out there in the middle of nowhere at night. At some point, the stories got so intense that scientists actually got involved. Yes, real researchers studied the ranch. They set up cameras, sensors, surveillance. They had all sorts of equipment, trying to capture anything that could explain what was going on. And this is the frustrating part. They did record strange data, unexplained signals, equipment malfunctions, odd environmental readings, but nothing consistent enough to give a clear answer. No clean explanation, no case closed, just more questions. Now, I began doing some research. So these researchers and scientists who went to Skinwalker Ranch to conduct this study, I was looking to see if there was any witness reports, and there is, so I'm going to read a couple to you. A researcher claimed that he saw a glowing orb floating silently across the sky, coming actually quite low to himself, and then it shot off faster than anything that he'd ever seen before. He explained it as being unusual, the movement wasn't natural. Another worker reported something crawling in the distance, low to the ground, but moving in a way that no known animal should. Another researcher claimed that he heard somebody mimicking the voice of a colleague, and he knows that for a fact because the voice was calling him over, but he knew that that colleague in particular wasn't at the ranch. He'd already clocked off for the day, and he followed the voice and went over, and guess what? Nobody was there. So what is really going on at Skinwalker Ranch? And what is Skinwalker Ranch? Is it a hotspot for extraterrestrial activity? Is it a portal to something we don't understand? Is it a place tied to ancient folklore and spiritual energy? Or is it just a perfect storm of stories, fears, and coincidence? Because the truth is, nobody really knows, and that uncertainty is what keeps people coming back. Here's why Skinwalker Ranch is so fascinating to me, because it's not just one thing. Usually most haunted places have a theme. There is residential spirits or residual energy or something along them lines, but this place is literally paranormal chaos, and anyone who knows me knows I love chaos. And that's what makes it harder to explain, because even the skeptics have to admit it's weird that so many different types of stories can come from one location. And especially, we talked about earlier the fact that these scientists have studied this place, and even they admit that something isn't right. They just don't know what. So if you ever find yourself in the Utah desert and you see something you can't explain, maybe just don't go chasing it. Maybe don't answer if someone calls your name, and definitely don't assume that what you're looking at is what it appears to be, because out there on a quiet stretch of land known as Skinwalker Ranch, people don't just believe in the paranormal, they experience it, or at least they think they do. I've got some really interesting topics lined up for the upcoming weeks. Now, the plan is, once I hit episode 12, I'm going to take a little break for about 3 to 4 weeks. I'm going to be letting you know in advance, so don't worry about that. And it is simply to get ahead for next season, to pre-record podcasts so we have lots upcoming. I'm going to be delving into more true crime with psychic detectives, more witchcraft stories, cults, and even folklore. If there is anything that you would like to hear as a listener or would like me to cover, please do let me know in the comments below. I will take anyone's on board, and if I can deliver a podcast on that topic, I absolutely will. I also have a paranormal investigation coming up on the 26th of this month. I will be going to the Elmwood House for the night, where I will be conducting a full investigation recorded for YouTube, and I'll also be going live whilst I'm there. So if that's something that you want to experience, if that's something you want to watch or come and join me live, make sure you follow me on TikTok and even YouTube. Just look for Sarah After Dark. Now, I actually covered the Elmwood House on a previous podcast. This place is super, super interesting. It has residential spirits. It has allegedly very high activity. Now, it also has a lot of secrets because it was used at one point from the government. I am very excited to see what is going to happen, and I can't wait to share that all with you guys. And in the meantime, keep being a little bit weird and even a little bit spooky. Good night.